Harmony. I'm just going to move us a little bit. Y'all know the specs are always one thing before I go live, and then made much clearer after I've gone live. Praise and power. Welcome to a Sunday moment. Everyone knows I am never shy to talk about how precious Sunday moments are to me, because I know that Sundays are special times for families and individuals. They're a time of regrouping, they're a time of settling in, they're a time of preparation. For many, they're a time for religious or spiritual practices, rituals, and just taking some time out to sit with your girl on a Sunday morning is a true and enormous blessing. So I'm just always so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've had an extraordinary weekend, a very busy weekend. For those that are streaming live, we are starting a little bit behind the clock. So thank you for your grace and your mercy. We had Family, and shout out to the whole family. We had Family, which is it's like a family reunion type of thing that my family puts together biannually. And it was a big deal. And I wasn't feeling super great. Peace. So good to see you, King. I wasn't feeling super great throughout the weekend, or I wasn't feeling really good at all to go out there. But I went out there, we made the trip, we're back, and I'm still healing up today. So grace and mercy throughout this whole moment of harmony, because something got a hold of me. I'm trying to think, what's that song? Something got a hold of me. I'm trying to think of what it's called, but something has definitely got a hold of me. Seasons are changing, probably just a little bit of fatigue. You need some rest, but an immune system starts breaking down when you start breaking down. So take really good care of yourself. But I'm here. I'm here on a Sunday moment. I'm here on a Sunday with you all. And that's what we're going to focus on and give the most grace about. Thank you so much. Giving many, many thanks, King. So that's what we're going to give all the grace for, all the thanks for. I'm here, and we are on week number 13 of Meiotic Moments. We have been moving through the 42 laws of Mayotte. We have been moving efficiently. We have been moving consistently, and it has been one of my most favorite under a series of A Moment of Harmony. One of my most favorite series to hone into is the Meiotic Moments, because it is focusing on our character. I always talk about how we put great emphasis when it comes to growing and develop ourselves and transforming ourselves. We put great emphasis on just what we eat or what we watch or what we read, and not a lot of emphasis on how and who. I'm sorry, the camera is moving all around. Forgiveness, mercy, mommy, mercy. And not a great deal of emphasis on how or who we are, right? How or who we are plays a great role in where we are. And so I really love Meiotic Moments because the spiritual awareness is my favorite awareness of it all. Trust me, we should be physically aware, we should be financially aware, emotionally, we should be present and conscious, period. But my favorite of all is spiritual awareness, because as above, so below. I feel like that's the driving seat of life. So if you got that together, you're going to much easier find alignment with the other things. So we are into Meiotic Moments, and I have loved them. Today's episode is entitled, I Have Not Made Anyone Cry. That's the Meiotic law number 13. And that's the law that we're working on. I have not made anyone cry. I'm so excited about this one today because if you've been here for the 13 weeks, or if you're familiar with the Meiotic laws, if you're familiar with the ammunitions or anything to that nature, you know that our ancestors, peace, it's so good to see everyone, blessings and good morning. Thank you, and thank you so much. If you are familiar with these, you know that our ancestors have a reoccurring theme of how we treat each other. There's a consistency there. Peace. There's a consistency there about how we treat each other, how we behave towards one another, and how it relates to our spiritual evolution. And of course, there is no getting healthy, there is no getting well, there is no healing, there is none of that without great spiritual attention and evolution. So this one, I have not made anyone else cry, fits right into that whole alignment of our ancestors really having us us grow, us become our better selves, us become well acquainted in life, like knowing thyself, by really being aware of how we treat others, how we are in alignment with nature, and how we relate to each other. And I am saying this has not, peace, Tennessee. This has not gone over my head at all. My thing is like, this has been the most reoccurring theme when it comes to every single law from the 42 laws of Maya. How are you treating each other? How are you loving each other? How are you caring for one another, catering to one another? And that is making you a better person. How you are showing up in your life for your loved ones, how you are showing up in your life for yourself is greatly reflecting your circle, is greatly reflecting your reinforcement, your reflections, your accountability, your love, your support. So I am so excited to get into this. Again, like I was saying to everyone, please, normally my energy is kind of like through the roof because I'm always so excited to do a moment. It's always a blessing to get on this platform. I am still going to keep the energy high. You know, you're not going to get a dry moment, but I just want to just reiterate that I'm not feeling super great. Definitely been battling some things on top of traveling. Not feeling great and traveling. Probably not feeling great because of traveling. And so stay with me and work with me, okay? Much love and light to everyone. The chat is jumping. Beautiful people. I'm so grateful for you always. I have not made anyone cry. Let's get on into it. Again, as you will notice throughout this moment, that I do refer greatly to my personal cultural history and practices, right? I will come from a comedic standpoint. However, no matter what walk of life you are on, no matter what spiritual system or practice you subscribe to, when it comes to us going into the 42 laws of Maya, it is greatly centered around us being our better and greater selves. Our character development, like I always use the example of not painting a house that is falling apart. And that applies to all of us on all levels, and we all are only going to get better for understanding one another, respecting one another, loving and growing together. So again, I will be coming from my references of study, my references of development. However, this is going to be for anyone whose heart is open, whose mind is open, or who is eagerly seeking the betterment of themselves, okay? The improvement of themselves. Mommy Mercy, Mommy is streaming live. Mommy Mercy got a couple of little ones walking around on a Sunday morning. But yes, so let's get into it. I have not made anyone cry. Now, when I first started to work into this moment, I got to the point where I was just like, I haven't made anyone cry. What a large order. Like, what a tall order, right? Because at some point in your growth and development, everyone is a villain in someone's story. Everyone has, whether you've had to walk away from things that weren't serving you, whether you've had to stand up for yourself or use your voice, whether you've had to or whether you were finding yourself. I know that there are people out there finding themselves, and they may have been people pleasers, or they may have just not shown up as their best selves all the time. And what I'm saying is that when we have a law such as I have not made anyone cry, it can seem very like insurmountable. It can seem like overwhelming. Like, I'm going to go through this whole life and I haven't made anyone cry. Now, of course, many of us, peace, my beautiful bestie, many of us are parents, many of us are influencers or educators of other children and people around us. So sometimes you're giving tough love, sometimes you're giving critique. I want us to keep in the forefront as we move throughout this law that our ancestors are absolutely intending for us to navigate through this lesson with I do not have malicious intent. Okay, we're talking about the malicious intent. We're not talking about being reckless. We're not saying, oh well, that's how I felt or that's where I was, because that is not being intentional. And not being intentional does also put us in the state of frame of being reckless, which can get us real close to malicious. Okay, so I'm saying that when we're talking about, we don't have to be 1000% like, oh, I haven't ever made anyone cry. And that would be nice. And I take great pride in being able to say, I haven't made anyone cry. But again, Who knows when I broke a heart or two. You know what I'm saying? I've walked away from situations that weren't serving me, and people may not have been happy with that, and vice versa. So that is not where we're going with this. What we're talking about right now, and I have not made anyone cry, is our intentional evaluation of our interactions with others, intentionally evaluating how we show up in, with, for others, because every single person around us, every single circumstance around us, every single experience that we are part of is absolutely reflecting a state of being. It is reflecting your state of mind. It is reflecting your state of understanding. So when we're talking about being very intentional about our interactions with others, how have I, and we'll get to this towards the end of, we're going to get more into this towards the end of this moment, but how have I influenced the weight of someone's heart? So I have not made anyone cry. The first thing I want to get into, and I'm just gonna, y'all know when I gotta get a little bit comfortable when we're ready to go deep, okay? The first thing I want to get into when it says I have not made anyone cry, again, their life is long. Life is about journeying, life is about understanding, life is about evolution. There definitely have been times where you made the mistakes or things could have been handled differently or better. I want us to really be open right now to like, how can I not only bring balance to situations where I may have been immature, situations where I may have been reckless, situations where things could have been handled in a better, more meiotic mind frame, in a better, more clear and kind mind frame, a state frame, but also moving forward. If I want to grow, if I want to magnetize, if I want to create, if I want to evolve, if I want things to reflect my manifestations and my desires, I must internally first reflect those manifestations and desires. So when I'm thinking about, y'all, this camera just keeps moving. I want to blame it on the silicone, but part of me wants to put it on a little bit of I have a silicone phone case, and I feel like it gets slippery on this platform that I have it on. But the other part of me want to say it's a little bit of spirit. Okay, come on now. We are, let me do my show. I say you right on, right on. Okay, I have not made anyone cry. How we handle people. My mother will often tell a story about me. My mother is a fire sign. Need I say more? She is an Aries. She is a big energy. Very, very aggressive, very loud, very rambunctious, very in your face. God of war, right? Ready for it. Some people say you don't gotta get ready if you stay ready. She's ready. Want the smoke. Wants the smoke. Okay. And when I was coming up, and when I was born, my mother would often say that she would see her behavior in me, meaning that my reaction to her made her feel like the way she, and remind you, I'm number 3. I have a big sister and I have a big brother. Shout out to Heaven Jess. Hey Ev, hey Majestic. The I was number 3, but she would say that it wasn't until me that she would look at herself and her approach and the way she addressed others, and look and say, was she appropriate? She said that she would often be in a yelling fit. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna get a little bit more into the frame. She would often be into a yelling fit, or she would be into, what she's used to doing, going off. She can do that, okay? And she was saying that my big brother, my big sister would normally, they would become so used to maybe her fussing or her, criticizing or whatever she was doing as a mom, as a single mom, and being stressed and being tired. And she would say she would approach me the same way. She would yell at me, or she would bark an order to me, and I would look at her. She said the look on my face was like I had seen a monster. This is a story my mother tells all the time. The look on her face was if I had seen a monster. She said I would get so overwhelmed by her aggression. I would get so overwhelmed by her approach that it would cause her to look like Why are you, what did I do? What did I say? And she would always say, like, Harmony, you showed me my humanity. You showed me, what I looked like to other people, but no one else had demonstrated it in that way. And a lot, when she tells that story, people often laugh like, oh yeah, that sounds like Harmony, that sounds like Harmony. But my mother would say, as a child, I was so gentle, I was so sensitive. I used to get that all the time as a kid. I know people who know Aqua Girl now would never say that, but as a child, my mother, I was so sensitive and emotional to everything. My mother would say that I caused her to rethink how she talked to us as her children, how she approached us in conflict, or how she sought after resolution. And she would always say, Harmony, you taught me. My mother is really good at expressing to all seven of her children the blessings that we were in her life. She's always talking about the manifestation that she had of wanting seven children and then getting all of us. And she would always tell us all what we gave to her, what we contributed to her. And we're always grateful because she definitely made us who we are. But she would always say, Harmony, you taught me my humanity. You taught me, you showed me my humanity. Because you would be so up in arms about why are you behaving this way. I still am to this day. When my mother is doing the most, I still am just my sisters are very much like my mother, so it can turn to a pop off session real quick. I am a lot less like that, because I'm definitely looking for the peace in this situation. I'm looking for the truth. I'm looking for the peace. I'm after the resolve. How can we get to? I am confrontation and chaos, not my cup of tea. So, how can we fix this? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are you acting like that? Why'd you say it like that? Even last night when we were all together at the family reunion, she was being herself and she said something to my youngest son and it made him cry. And everyone was like, why is he crying over what she said? She had told all the children that they couldn't have salmon for when we were making plates. And the salmon was, because she was like, it's for the adults. And he got emotional. And everybody thought he was just upset because he was told no, or he was upset because he couldn't have salmon. The boy salmon is one of his favorite things. Just had salmon last week. When he came to talk to me, he felt embarrassed. He felt like the way she said it was mean. He felt that the way she said it was loud for everyone to hear, and that he felt singled out. And it was not like all the kids can't, but then it was like, I don't, fix your face. You can't, da da da. And he didn't. And mind you, listen, if you come up in a black and brown family, it can be very loud and direct. Okay, you can get a lot of like, what did I tell you, and such and such and such. My children are not necessarily used to that up in here, okay? Because I'm not gonna say gentle parenting because there's a little bit of gangster to my parenting, but I do definitely a lot of like realistic parenting. Like, let's have a talk. You got some sense? Talk to me. So, and I definitely don't do a lot of. They got to get me to a place to start raising all the voices. So, all of that to say, my mom had got to the point where she was like, I could see when she was like, why is he still, I was talking to him, I was nurturing him, I was telling him like, don't take it personal. It's okay that you feel upset about it. I'm sorry that you were embarrassed. I'm giving him all the talks. And then my mom comes back out, why is he still upset about what I said? Because he can't have salmon? He's being spoiled? And I said, it's not what you said. It's how you said what you said, mother. And you embarrassed him. And my mother got quiet. And I know that she had not at all considered that she had embarrassed him. Because I know how she get down. She just gonna say what she's gotta say. She's gonna say it the way she has to say it. But what I am driving with all of these comparisons to my childhood and now with my Aqua Boy last night, what I am getting to all around the way is that there are a lot of times when it comes to handling our business, we feel like you got to do what you got to do. You know, if you have to break something off, if you have to cut a deal, if you have to tell somebody like it is, if you have to set a standard, if you have to set a rule, if you have to be a leader. And a lot of times in our lives, we are the leaders, we are the orchestrators, we are the drivers. And we all, you know, and we also have come from, and we live in on our point of a society that is very exploitive, very anti us, very dog eat dog, very survival of the fittest. And a lot of times that begins to groom and peace in us. And that's the other piece to my mother's upbringing and her childhood and her toughness. A lot of times that begins to put us in a place of survival. I want to drive this point home. When you operate from a place of survival, you put people in a position of having to survive you. When you operate from a place of survival, you put people in a position to perpetually have to survive you. And that becomes, when it comes back to this rule, our ancestors, this law, our ancestors say, I have not made anyone cry. A lot of us have been broken in relationships, used, lied to, damaged in relationships, and we become either the aggressors, or we become harder, we become colder in our next relationship, and we put people in positions to survive us. A lot of us were raised a certain way, and we've had certain violations, we've had certain hardships, and when we're raising our children, we come at them a certain way. Yes, boob. Thank you, boob. We put people, because we've gone through a thing as a child. What doesn't kill them will make them stronger. If I survived it, so can they. But why would you want to be survived? I would like to grow to be a very blessed and prosperous old woman, a creator, a mama of my community, an elder of direction, an elder of our freedom and our empowerment. And I would like that whenever my time comes, that no one standing around giving thanks for the life and the mark that I've made has ever had in their heart that they had to survive me. They had to survive my anger. They had to deal with or endure my frustration. They had to, right? We're only human. Like I tell you, the ancestors wouldn't put it in our laws. I will not make anyone cry. At the beginning of the day is a proclamation. I have not made anyone cry. At the end of the day is a declaration. They would not put it in such a fashion if this was not a difficult feat. If this did not take intent, if this did not take focus, if this did not take fervitude, if we did not have to work at this, if we did not have to go into this. I have not, Ashe, I have not made anyone cry. Starting out my day, I will not make anyone cry, because it's easy. It's easy when you've been hurt. It's easy when you've been broken. It's easy when you've been betrayed. It's easy when you've been deceived. To keep a wall up, to allow people to run into the wall inside of you. But what I'm saying is that for those of us wanting to grow, those of us wanting to be our better selves, those of us wanting to evolve ourselves, how can we get to a place where what I am receiving in life is coming to me at a speed, at a rate, in a fashion that I am happy with? Because what I am giving to life is going out at a speed, at a rate, at a fashion, in a way that the ancestors, that the creator can be happy with. I get what I am happy with when I give what life is happy with. When I give what the universe is happy with. When I give to the supreme being, supreme source, whatever you choose to call it, divine source. When I give what makes balance. I get what makes balance. When I give what makes peace, I get what makes peace. When I give what makes joy, I get what makes joy. But as long as I'm out here perpetuating chaos, as long as I'm out here, a part of the dispersing my trauma, as long as I'm out here giving craziness, as long as I'm out here taking part in my pain, that my pain will always have a part. As long as I'm out here taking part in my chaos, then my chaos will always have a part in this play, in this movie called life. I want to get to the point where I don't want to be surviving. And then people have to survive my pain. I've been so hurt in relationships that the next person just gonna get it. Oh well. I've been so looked over by my parents or the elders in my community, aunts and uncles. I've been criticized. I've been called names. I've been second guessed. I've been overlooked. That I don't mind doing this to my children. It made me tougher, made me stronger, made me better. No, I know my child is due a praise, but I'm going to give a critique. I want them to be made stronger. I have not made anyone cry. The ancestors are saying, and our ancestors that are putting together these 42 laws of Maya, they're saying at the end of the day, have you appropriately weighed your influence? We're going to talk about this later, your weight on someone else's heart, okay? How you give is how you get. How you give is how you get. I always say this. I've never seen people. Now, there are a number of people that I hear often. They complain about how no one checks on them. No one loves them. No one looks out for them. No one visits them. No one calls them. No one cares about what they're going through. And I stick by this. And I know Bestie is on the line and she could be like, girl, you say it all the time. Listen, I've never seen a person that wasn't difficult have that claim in my 38 years. In 38 years, I've never seen a person that wasn't difficult have that claim. Meaning a peaceful person, praise. Meaning a peaceful person, a kind person, a cohesive person, one that works well with others, plays well with others, attracts relationships that are healthy and fulfilling. I've never heard an easy person express frustration with not having people navigate towards them. What is it called? It's not even navigate that I want to say. I would say magnetize, but it's really kind of like when bugs go towards a light, right? When things go towards light or things go towards warmth, right? I've never had them say like, no one comes to me, no one comforts me, no one supports me. I've just never seen a beam of light ever say that. And I watch very closely and I listen very closely to the people that say, nobody cares about what I'm going through. No one checks in on me. No one cares about me. No one such and such. At work, facilitators, I just have heard it and I've always properly assessed. How you give is how you get. You give easy. You get easy. You give light, you get light. You give love, you get love. How you give is what and how you receive. And our ancestors were very clear on this, having this 13th law. Here are all these laws about making myself better. Here are all these laws about growing and developing myself. Here are all these laws about being and reaching my supreme level of beingness. And they all are about someone else. They all are about how I treat someone else. They all are about how I show up in someone else's story or picture. And they all reflect back because they're all a reflection back to me. So when it comes to this law, I want us to keep in mind, handle harmoniously. right? And that's why I told the story of my childhood that my mother shares often about she learned or she began to practice bringing it down, the tone, being cognizant of her tone, or being cognizant of her delivery, being cognizant of her effect, of the cause and effect of her energy and her emotions. Handle harmoniously. There is nothing in this world, and I would like this to be just as clear can be, because a lot of people are just like, sometimes you have to be a BI. Sometimes you got to be a DI. Sometimes you have to be, let them know what a TI is. Okay. Now, listen, I've been in a community organizer and leader and in leadership positions for most of my vocation. I am a mother of many. I'm EI now. I got a grand girl. And let me tell you something. Okay, a little bit of something, something about conflict, a little something, something about complexity, a little something, something about growing and maintaining and sustaining big and powerful institutions, like circumstances and situations. There is absolutely nothing in this life that cannot be handled with care. There is absolutely nothing in this life that cannot be handled with prayer and handled with care. Okay? When it comes, there's okay. When I say handle things harmoniously, what I am saying is that from the oppressions and the dehumanizations and the emasculations and the destruction of what it has been as of oppression and the systematic destruction of this society, or when it comes down to just building family and creating legacy, creating union, creating relationship, creating longevity, I have always found that no matter how difficult the situation, I don't have to be as difficult as the situation. I don't ever have to be as difficult as you are to deal with you. I don't ever have to be as difficult as you are to handle this situation. I don't ever have to be as wrong as this problem is in order for me. See, because I'm operating out of my superior place of beingness, right? Sorry, y'all, something is in my eye. I'm operating out of my superior place of beingness, which is spirit, which is light, which is grace, right? Whenever I leave my throne, because this is my power, this is how the Creator made me, right? My power is in my presence, in my passion, and in my kindness. I am a nurturer, I am a lover, I am a giver, I am a healer. So whenever I come up off that throne to be an aggressor, now it doesn't mean I'm not a protector, a defender, or a warrior or a fighter, okay? Because she's all of that, but she is that in her power. I do not come off my throne. I will not play a game with you on your field. I will not play a game with you in your vibration. That's the setup from the setup. And many of us are setting ourselves up and have been set up because people have harmed us, hurt us, disgruntled us, and we have lowered ourselves to battle with them. I will not lower myself to battle with them. You will raise your vibration to contend with me, or you'll be obsolete. You just won't exist because we're on two different frequencies. You can't, right? What I am saying overall is that there is not one I've ever faced. Like I said, I'm not saying you don't have to get with someone. I'm not saying I've never had to put some things together. I've never had to make things clear. But you'll never say that I came from a place of malice. You'll never say that I came from a place of ugliness. I came from a place of ignorance. Any business that I've handled has been harmoniously handled. There's a song in India. There's a line in India I read, and I'm going to use India a lot because India is my favorite, one of my favorites, and I love her. And she is all up in through this law. You know what I'm saying? But she has a line that I used to tell my bestie. And one of her songs, "He Heals Me." I think it's "He Heals Me," right? When I was, looking for a king and on this journey looking for my king, and still looking for my king. On this journey, I have one of the things she said that stood out to me the most. She said, "He chooses his words kindly when he tells me I'm not right." One of my favorite quotes, and I say it 1,000 times on a Moment of Harmony, y'all. Please forgive whatever this is in my eye. Please let me be great. 1,000 times a Moment of Harmony. My favorite quotes. It's anonymous. I don't know where it come from, but it says, "I did not come to teach you. I came to love you, and love will teach you." Live by, right? The words to live by. He chooses his. I told my best friend, I said, that's him. It's the man that loves me, that lifts me, that grows me, that develops me, that is so powerful and strong. He is so great and secure that he can build me in gentleness. He can correct me in kindness. He can direct me in love. You know the type of strategy? You know what? Come on now. He chooses his words kindness. He chooses his words kindly when he tells me I'm not right. We're talking about grace. We're talking about handling. How are you handling? It's not what you're handling. It's not what you're dealing with that's keeping you down. It's not what you're dealing with that's keeping you low. It's not what you're dealing with that's keeping you in patterns and cycles of pain and dysfunction and disappointment. It's not what you're handling. It's how you're handling. Who you're handling. How you're handling. Who you're handling. Because you are getting what you are giving. You are getting what you are giving. You may not always like what I have had to say. The truth may not feel good going down. But you will not say that I did not spoonful of sugar that behind. I help the medicine go down. And as long as I get the medicine down, that's my point. I don't need to choke you. I tell my oldest, I have a 20-year-old and 18-year-old. I tell y'all this all the time. And they're boys. Sometimes they need you to get all the way with them for them to get all the way right. Okay? Sometimes you got to go left for it to go right. And I always tell them, you want me to get outside myself because of your tone, or you want me to get outside of yourself because of your words or your behaviors. I tell them this. Life is a better teacher than me. See, I don't ever have to step outside myself in order to get my point across, in order to be myself, in order to do my job. I'm going to tell you right now, fix yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. But trust me, when you walk out into that world, it is going to be the way that you handle life that will dictate how life handles you. I'm not going to scream about it. I'm not going to cuss about it. I'm not going to hurt about it. I'm not going to do no craziness about it. All I am saying is, it is how you handle life that will dictate how life handles you. Handle harmoniously. Handle harmoniously. Break it off nicely. You can be kind, you can be strict, you can be to the point, but you don't have to be malicious. You don't have to throw in, hurtful things. You don't have to put people in broken situations. You don't have to break people to fix people. Right? And a lot of us feel like that. I got to fix this situation, so we're going to go cause damage. Put it back together. You don't have to break a situation to fix it. Handle harmoniously. How you give is how you get. There's a lot of us that are in some forms of spiritual evolution. Many of us are here right now on this platform because we're seeking growth, we're seeking development. We hold dear and we cherish our coming into self, our being into self. And we are get so quick to get very high and mighty. We get so quick to get up on that pedestal. We get so quick to say we have arrived. Whether you have done tithes or offerings, or you go feed the homeless, or you're out in the community passing out flyers, whether you're promoting voting, whatever. There's so many of us that feel like we are so great. We are so great because we do great things. I would like to set the record straight. Great things are great. Kudos. You are not great because you do great things. You are great because you are great because you are great to others. You are great because you treat others greatly. You are great because you show up greatly to others. You are not great because you do great things. You are great because you are a great person. You are great to others. Mama Maya, one of my favorites, one of my favorite mamas and elders. People will not always remember what you said. They will not always remember what you did. They will never ever forget the way you made them feel. Our ancestor says, I have not made anyone cry. I have not made anyone cry. This brings to my second point. Nothing is more divine than humanity. I don't care how much you donated to what institutional organization you donated it to. I am grateful that you had it in your heart to give. I do not care how how many people like your post, follow your show, read your book, pray out, give out your praises for something you have said or done. I do not seek any divinity. I do not see divinity. I do not define divinity. I am not drawn to any divinity on that level. I can give you accolades and appreciation and affirmation. But true divinity is in your humanity. What you have done to the least of these. How you have treated every person you've come in contact with. How you treat the people you call family. How you treat the people you call mate, love, forever. How you treat the people you call children, co-worker, boss, stranger, cashier. There is nothing more divine. I will tell you that anytime I've fallen in love, it is always, people say, you know what, I fell in love the first time you brought me flowers, or when you called and gave me this poem, or you said, the first time I've always solidified, this is with any man that I've ever gone into a relationship with, is always after when I've seen his humanity, when I've seen how he handled someone else kindly, generously, gently, protectively, that I've been like, I'm going to give him a chance. Your divinity is not measured in your doing. That's what I'm saying. Your divinity is not measured in your doing. Your divinity is measured in your being. There is nothing. I had put this as a Harmony original on Facebook the other day. There is nothing more divine than humanity. And you hear people all the time saying, oh, I'm only human. We're only human. What are we going to do? It's only human. I'm only a human. Only human. Only human. Only loving. Only caring. Only forgiving. Only gracious. All right, y'all. We're going to be peaceful up on this chat. It's family on the chat. Let's be peaceful. Let's be peaceful. You in a moment of harmony We're in a moment of grace. We're in a moment of love and light towards one another. All right. And we got some people that's protecting. We're protecting each other on this joint. Okay. Let's give love and light. Let's be love and light. Remember, divinity is not measured in the doing, it's measured in the being. Be great. Let's all be great. Let's be great. Let's have great. Okay. So, nothing more divine than humanity. Okay. And by saying that nothing is more divine than humanity, you know, when they always talk about aliens coming to the earth, aliens coming to invade, you know, when we have all those like stories and movies and clips and things like that, the first thing that the aliens always say that I used to love, and you hear it a lot in cartoons and things like that, is I come in peace. I come in peace. Now, why would they need to say that? Because they were coming in a place where they were new, unfamiliar. People didn't know their intentions. People didn't know who they were. Why would you need to declare, I am coming in peace? There are so many times when in our brokenness, I can't tell you how many times I have to literally say these words. I have a 15-year-old daughter. Whoo, child. Okay, and getting through is work. But there are times, whether I'm in a conversation with a romantic partner, or I'm in a conversation with my daughter, or I'm trying to give truth and accountability to anyone I love. There are so many times when we start to see it get, go up here, and you have to say, I come in peace. I come in peace. Come in peace is a sense of wholeness. When we talk about I have not made anyone cry, you are bringing your whole self into your interactions with everyone you interact with. You ever hear when you're acting up or you're doing something you're not supposed to do, and your mom, I say it to my children, you must have lost your mind. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to go back and find it, because you must have done lost your mind or you bumped your head. What they're saying is that you're showing up less than yourself, your best self. You're showing up less than you're expected to show up. You're showing up less than you've been raised or you've been created. And many times when we say, oh, I'm only human, we try to use that as an excuse to show up less than our divine selves. And I want you to know that your humanity and your divinity are one. They are the physical and spiritual in one. You do not ever have an excuse to show up less than your divine self. And when you do, you are coming in pieces. You must have lost your mind. You must have done bumped your head. You are coming in pieces. You know better than the way that you are speaking to people. You know better than the profanity that you are projecting onto others. We talked about cursed a couple of weeks ago. You know better than the evil or the negativity that you are wishing into your space, into the space of others. You are showing up in pieces. You are showing up in your loved ones' lives in pieces. You are showing up in your children's life. You are showing up in your own dreams and aspirations. You are showing up in your own healing in pieces. You are leaving the best parts of yourself behind. You are leaving the best parts of yourself behind. And that's why I come in peace. This is what our ancestors are saying. I have not made anyone cry. I have showed up in peace, whole, and not pieces. I have not only come with my business sense, but I have come with my blessing sense. I have not only showed up with my financial savvy and genius, but I've also showed up with my family tree and genes. I have not only shown up with my good sense, but I've shown up with my good manners. I have come in peace as a whole and not pieces. There is nothing more divine than humanity. I come in peace. Your ancestors are saying, show up whole. Show up complete. Do not walk into the school system only as a student. Walk in also as a sacred being of light. Do not walk into on this next date only as an attractive man or woman. Show up as a divine complement and source of light and life. Come in peace. Come in light. I have not made anyone cry. I'm not going to work as an employee, as just an administrative officer. I am coming as a light and being of great, all things great and wonderful. When my mouth is open, it is the tongue of all of the great and powerful women that have come before me that are the reason of my results. I come whole. I come in healing. I come in grace. I come to do God's work. I clock in not to just do your work. I show up not to just do your work. I come to also do God's work. I didn't fragment myself. And therefore I fragmented others. I have not compartmentalized myself, and therefore I have compartmentalized others. I have not been in broken and despair, downtrodden, down-talked myself, humiliated myself, traumatized myself, cursed myself, and therefore done that to others. There is nothing more divine than humanity. There is nothing more divine than humanity. The ancestors are saying, have you showed up in your humanity? Have you addressed people? Have your humanity and your divinity been one and the same? I have not made anyone cry. Not from sadness, not from pain, not from anger, not from bitterness, not from resentment, not from less than. I have not made anyone survive me because of what I'm surviving. Nothing more divine than humanity. And lastly, when we get into peace, thank you, Baba J. Peace, when it comes down into, when we get down to the bottom of, have I made anyone cry? Am I responsible for someone else's emotions? How can I be responsible if somebody else is crying or somebody else is upset? I hear this all. That sounds like a personal problem. Maybe you need thicker skin. Maybe you need to toughen up. Maybe you need to get the program. Maybe if you don't start, that won't beat nothing. Again, here we are. Ancestors didn't say I didn't make anyone cry unless they made me cry first. I didn't make anyone cry unless they made me uncomfortable. I didn't make anyone cry unless they doubted me or unless they criticized me. It says I have not made anyone cry. This is a stance of accountability. This is a stance of your standard for me has been reached. Was it hard? Yes. Did I almost fall? Yes. Did I almost slip? Yes. Did I not want to keep the standard? Absolutely not. People tried me, danced on my last nerve, came for all the patients I had less than me. But guess what I can say? At the end of this day, I didn't do it. I didn't make nobody cry. I chose my words kindly. India Arie, kindness is timeless. She has a song like that too that I love. Kindness is timeless. Love is so easy to give. That's what she says in her song. Kindness is timeless. Love is so easy. It just takes a moment. Hey, India, to show somebody that you care. I'm not saying that people aren't deserving of a good little get together, a little act right. What our ancestors are saying in this law is, have you done your part? Life will teach. Love will teach. You don't have to be the teacher. Nobody assigned you as the drill sergeant. Nobody assigned you as the corrector, the enforcer. All the Creator is saying is, have you shown up like me? When it was hard to, when you didn't want to, when you didn't have to. Have you shown up like me? Have you handled people with care? Have you been a reflection of greatness and divinity and supremacy? Have you shown up like me? Have you shown up like me? So when it comes down to, I can't control the way other people feel or think. I can't control the issues other people may have. I cannot, if somebody got sensitive or emotional to what I'm saying, this is what I want us to accurately weigh intended. I have appropriately weighed my influence on the weight of someone else's heart. Our ancestors said, the the weight of our heart. You will not be judged on Judgment Day by who you were associated with, who you were talking to, what they did, what they said. It says it is the weight of your heart. It is the balance of your heart. So if the creator is, or if, let's say, if Judgment Day, if life is giving us our weight in heart, our weight in gold, if life is giving us and holding us accountable to the weight of our heart, our ancestors are holding us accountable to our weight of influence on the weight of others' hearts. I have appropriately weighed my influence. I was careful with my tone. I was careful with my words. I was gentle with my accusations. I was certain. I was fair with my engagements. I was appropriate in my exchange because I was heavily weighing. I was heavily weighing my influence on the weight of others' hearts. If I know you can't get where you trying to go with a heavy heart, I'm not going to make it heavier for you. If I know that the separation between light and dark is going to be the weight of your heart, then the very least I can do is to go and make sure I don't make things heavier for you. Because I don't want nobody making things heavier for me. I have not made anyone cry. I have appropriately weighed the influence of the weight of my influence on the weight of someone else's heart. There's a saying that I love. I'm trying to think of what the movie it was that I first heard it in too. But I know it was like a Danny Glover movie. It's many years ago. It was like one of those Christmas movies, Thanksgiving movies that came out in the movie theater, and it was I know, all black cast. No, it wasn't this Christmas because that's what keeps coming to mind, but it wasn't that. But it was another movie, and but this is what I got from it. Right, there was a saying in it that says, if you come upon something and you cannot make it better, and I'm paraphrasing, at the very least, you leave it the way you found it. If you come upon anything that you cannot improve upon, at the very least, leave it the way you found it. I have appropriately weighed my influence on the weight on others' hearts. If I meet you, if I work with you, if I'm growing with you, if I collaborate with you, if I'm related to you, if I'm in love with you, my ancestors dictate that I must make things better for you. And if for some reason, maybe it's my trauma, maybe it's my issues, maybe it's our history, maybe it's our confusion, maybe it's this society, maybe it's this dysfunction, maybe I have learning to do. If some reason I cannot make things better, I can at least leave you be. I have not come to make things worse for others. I have not come to make things dark for others, ugly for others, harder for others. I have not made anyone cry. I have not made anyone cry. I did better or I did nothing. I focused on you, or I focused on myself, or I focused on us both. That was it. I had this little light of mine and I lit it up for everybody around me, or I just kept it moving on my journey along, but I didn't take your light. I didn't dim your light. I didn't flicker your light. I didn't even mess with your light. I took this little light of mine and I put it up amongst yours and we glue, right? We were glowing. Or I didn't see fit to put my light in that situation and I kept my light moving. Sometimes you think you got to do something. You have to say something to someone. You got to teach something. You got to show somebody something different. You got to come and correct, right? You the enforcer. You the police officer. You the security guard of sacredness. You got to come and aggress yourself onto someone else. The creator did not, it doesn't say that. Our ancestors doesn't say that. It didn't say I made someone cry enforcing your laws and rules. I did not make anyone cry, but only to make sure they knew about you, creator. Only make sure they knew about the right way to do things. That is not. Creator is saying, did you show up like me? Did you show up as me? Were you one with me? Jinyame. Did you show up like me when you showed up in your life? When you went to work, when you woke up next to your mate, when you greeted your children, when you encountered a stranger, did you show up as me? Did you show up as me? That's all. I have not made anyone cry. Trust me, it's working. Motion is happening. Life is lifing. The outcomes are out, coming, and coming out. Did you do what you were instructed to do, which was to handle harmoniously? There is not one circumstance that cannot be handled with care. There is not one, so I don't care if you in the ugliest divorce. I don't care if you in the biggest beef. I don't care if you and your job are at the greatest standoff. I don't care if you and your children are just as confused and out of sync as can be. There is not one thing you cannot handle harmoniously. Because here's the thing, and then we're going to end on this note because we're going over. At the end of the day, if you can't do anything great for anyone, if you can't get in there and influence the life of someone else, if you can't get anywhere, well, how I'm going to be responsible if somebody cried? Creator not saying that. How I'm going to be responsible if somebody's feelings was hurt? Creator saying, how did you show up in that situation? At the very least, when you didn't know what to do, when you didn't know what to say, did you pray? Have you prayed for somebody? I have this new saying that is going to be going on my Facebook, my Harmony Original. But did you pray for me though? Right? There's a lot of people I hear all the time when people are saying, what are they saying? There's a lot of people are saying, well, I know what you was going through, and I know what you've been dealing with, and pour you and keep your head up, and you so great. But did you pray for me though? Did you pray for me though? Did you pray against my tears? Did you pray against my worries? Did you pray against my fears? Did you fight on my behalf? What's that? J-Rock. Oh my God, I used to love J-Rock, and I don't even know if I can say her on here, but. You either with me or against me. Okay, now I'm say that. What did it say? Win, 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 win. Everything else, okay? But you either with me or against me. When it comes down to you feeling like you got to be involved. You need to hold someone accountable. You need to give an intervention. Your opinions and your thoughts must be aggressed. Go on and just pray for somebody, so that you can keep your promise and your proclamation to yourself that you didn't make anybody cry. But have you prayed for me though? You so worried. You so concerned. Listen, I don't care if you never told me what you thought. I don't care if you ever called me and you ever checked up. I don't care if I ever saw your face or a text, but did you pray for me though? This is what I'm talking about divinity being in not the doing, but the being. I have not made anyone cry. When I was concerned about them, I checked in. If I didn't know them like that or like them like that, I prayed for them. I wasn't a part of the confusion. I wasn't a part of the chaos. I'm teaching my granddaughter the song that my aunts were having me and my sister do all the time. All the times we had to go to the Bible camps and retreats and things. But somebody prayed for me. When I tell you of the chaos and the exhaustion of life, the best thing the best thing you can do for me, you can go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. King told me I need to tell y'all that more. And my manager, Kingdom Kyle Logan, shout out to you. He told me I need to tell y'all more, like, share, and subscribe. But listen, even if you don't, I'm on my auntie tab. Even if you can't, pray for me. The best thing you can do for me is pray for me. I have not made anyone cry. I didn't take part in anyone's pain. I didn't have no. I taught the best thing you can do for me. Go on and take it to the king. I promise you, it's getting back to me. I promise you, it's lifting me up. I'm promising you, it's holding me together because you are upholding what our ancestors are saying. How are you showing up in your responsibility to each other? You making people cry? You demoralizing people. You breaking people down. I'm gonna tell this quick story, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. I was working some years ago. I guess at this point it might have been about a year and a half ago. At I was working with mobility, and we had a lot of leadership changes, and that a lot of young women were in power. Shout out to them because there was some young sisters up in there moving around, a lot of chaos. If anybody ever knows anything about working for mobility and anything dealing with that, it is a machine. Okay, it can be a bit much. But the young sisters, they were getting thrown in, right? Fix this. You know how they do. Get in there, fix it. You the manager now. You the boss now. You the leader now. And a lot of times the young women would get very overwhelmed. Whenever they made a mistake or if things weren't going right, leadership would pull them back in, go off on them, and then they would come out and they would be overwhelmed with how they would have to deal with others. And these are younger women, 30s, maybe 40, not so much there yet. And they dealt with a lot of people in their staff that's some were older than them, some were in their age range, some were young. But a lot of times they were put in leadership, they were put in some chaotic leadership positions that they that were very haphazard, like that were very by the seat of their pants. During this time of me working there, mind you, we all had, the whole crew. There's a sister that I worked with that had an autistic son, and she was a single mom, and she was young, beautiful. Shout out to you, Sid. We had college students there trying to make a way, trying to go to school. I myself had come into the organization, and I was going through the roughest season of my life. The roughest. Rug snatched from beneath you every single day, something else. What you trying to make in me, right? Type of thing. This young woman, it's a Friday. We're getting ready to leave. Now we in customer service, child. Lord, pray for customer service people. I give thanks for elevation, child. I don't want to do it. I'm so glad I ain't got to do it no more. But we worked in customer service with disgruntled, all the time, disgruntled elderly, the disgruntled disabled, their caretakers. People are mad. People don't want to be exploited. They don't want to be taken advantage of. They want things to happen for their loved ones right away. So we, at the end of a week, we would catch some whippings on them phones, okay? We were CSR, customer service representatives, and it was tough, okay? So we would get to the end, and it was numbers. Oh my gosh, they were pushing numbers down our throat. Make this number, make this quota, make this quota, make this quota. Get off the phone, get on the phone. Machines, not people, okay? Whoo! Again, I'm gonna praise God for elevation. It was a lot. One day we get to Friday, we're all getting ready to leave, and I'm on the verge of a breakdown. No one knows that at work because your girl is cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna hotep, God bless, give love and light you to death. Okay? No one knows that people have been yelling, screaming, calling me names on the phone all day. I'm having worries. I'm displaced when it comes to my home. I'm displaced. My relationship is coming to an end. It is getting toxic. It is getting worrisome. It's getting burdensome. It's getting heavy. My it's I'm surviving. Okay, I'm scratching and surviving like a mug. We get to the end, and I'm working my butt off at work because I'm trying to grow quickly through the ranks because I need them checks to start looking a certain way. When we get to the end, apparently there was an angry customer, whatever. They went to the top of the chain, calls in this young lady who was a temporary. We had a lot of temporary stand-in supervisor who was a temporary supervisor. Call her back there, hurt her feelings, but can tell they hurt her feelings because when she came out from the back, she was a huffing and a puffing and on the verge of tears her dang self, right? She calls us all on the way out the door on a Friday evening, and she goes off. I'm not going, yelling, talking to us like we were children. And she goes like, I want y'all to know I'm not going to keep getting pulled up because of what y'all doing and what y'all not doing. Make sure you talk to people like y'all got some sense on that phone. Don't have nobody calling up here. Whatever the situation was, homegirl went off, right? And I felt like, what? Apparently, this was an isolated situation where you done went off on everybody, right? This is why I'm always big on my 15-year-old because she treat people in the house like that. But she's 15. But she treat us like that. One little thing, somebody say something to her she don't like on the Instagram or whatever. We all got to get it, okay? But she did it. I walked out of work in tears. We used to have to walk far to our cars. That's another thing. We need to have parking on site, child. Again, I'm going to give praise for elevation. God will bring you through it and take you to it. So, testimony. I used to walk all this long way because we couldn't park on site. We had to walk across the street, walk to another parking lot, walk past all, hooting and hollering people trying to get a cat call in. We had to get past them to get to our cars. And I cried all the way to my car. Somebody caught me crying. I want to know who saw. Somebody saw me crying, and they later went and told her, like, you upset Harmony. She came back on Monday and she was just like, Harmony, I just want you to know I wasn't coming at you. I want you to know it wasn't for you. If it don't apply, let it fly. The same word I've been called many times as a child, sensitive. They would say, I don't want you to be too sensitive. I used to hear that all the time. You can't be sensitive working here. Here it is. The thing is this. I am a divine being of light and energy. I was sent here to heal and to teach and to elevate. I am sensational and led by sensations. I can gauge the temperature in a room by my sensitivity. I can gauge the needs of others by my sensitivity. This is not only a survival mechanism. You can touch something and see that it's hot. That's how you stay alive. You can taste something and see that it's spoiled. That's how you keep from getting sick. I can feel things and see if they're right. I can feel things and see if they're wrong. I can feel things and see how and where I'm needed. It is a part of my makeup. But she was like, you don't need to be too sensitive. And I had to tell her, it's not about being sensitive. It's about being human. It's about the fact that I'm barely holding on. And because you're barely holding on, you saw fit to bring an energy into my space. I walked out of there because I was at my last straw, and it took also my grandfather died that week. It took everything in me to get through this week with my head up high and to not fall completely apart right where I was standing. You don't know what I'm holding on to and what I'm holding on with for you to bring your chaos to me and call me sensitive. We're going to be right. It says, I have not made anyone cry. This don't have nothing to do about the climate of the other person. As far as the way you showed up, the way you spoke, the way you behaved. Now, I don't hold nothing against her. She's a really awesome a really awesome system, and they were in some very unfair circumstances. And I give love and light to everybody over in certification. Y'all some thugs, okay? Y'all was some gangsters with it. All I am saying is to give that true story of an example of you don't know where someone is. And the creators did not sit you on anybody's path to push them south, push them over, push them into a wrong direction. The creator is saying, did you show up as me? That's all I'm asking. Were you a representative of my light and my will and my way? I have not made anyone cry. Well, somebody made me cry. But somebody was mean to me. Nobody asked about me. Nobody cared about me. Well, guess what? If we all show up in this law, no one is left out of the law. Because nobody should have been talking to her like they didn't have no sense either. But at the end of the day, it does not excuse you. Ignorance is not an excuse of well, ignorance of the law is, now I'm about to mess up the law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. What did they say in a court of law? Child, you gonna go to jail. That's what they say. You gonna go to jail whether you knew it was a law or not. You not knowing is not a good reason for you not showing. Okay, that's what they had said. Okay. This is a long moment. I love you all. Thank you so much. This was a very, very important moment to me, for me, with me, because I believe that how we treat each other is what's going to shift the climate of what's going on in our society, what's going on in our personal lives, what's going on with us collectively, and who we are all together. It's about how you're treating people. I promise you. It's about how you're treating people. You not being able to sleep at night. You not being able to get yourself together. You not being able to have what it is you need. You not being able to magnetize. I promise you. You're treating somebody else wrong, or you're treating yourself wrong. You're making somebody else cry, or you're making yourself cry. I'm trying to tell you, it's about what you're doing. It's about who you're being, or less about what you're doing and who you're being. I love you all so very much. Thank you for joining me for a moment of harmony. I look forward to another moment with you next week. Take really good care of yourself. Don't make nobody cry. Make somebody smile. Okay? Make somebody happy. Make somebody's day. Because it's free and it's going to come back to you. Because it's free and it's going to come back to you. Go on and take really good care of yourself, and go on out your way to take really good care of someone else. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for your love, your light, and your energy. And I will see you next week for another moment of harmony. Yeah, what is it? Ignorance of the law does not excuse you if you break the law. Yeah, it was something like that. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all.